Now we're going to walk to the lower control panel and perform a function test on the machine. There's also a safety device that we want to check, which is underneath this hood. In this particular machine, we want to make sure the machine is on. We have a slope warning device that we want to make sure we get an audible warning in the basket, which we have. Okay, so we checked our slope warning device. Now we want to start our engine. Now we want to go through the motions, make sure our engine revs. When our engine revs, we want to check our hydraulic filter back pressure. Anything in the green is safe to operate. Anything in the red, the hydraulic filter needs to be replaced. Now we're going to operate a function test. The boom elevate, lower, boom telescope retract, boom rotate, basket rotate, basket level. Now we're going to test our emergency stop. Emergency stop works. We're going to turn emergency stop back on and do the same thing with auxiliary power. Elevate boom, boom extend, boom rotate, basket level. Now we perform the function test from the ground controls. We're going to leave the boom elevated so that we can make a visual inspection of the area underneath the boom. Now we're going to perform a visual inspection of the base of the machine. Starting at the tires, we want to look at the tread for lugs missing, gouges in the sidewall showing fatigue, potential tread or webbing in the stitching. We want to look for loose lug nuts, leaky torque hub, loose fasteners. We want to check for leaks inside the drive motor. Things that don't belong wrapped up inside the drive wheel or hub assembly. This particular machine has a pneumatic tire on it. We want to check tire pressure. This machine has the tire pressure indicated by the decal on the side of the machine, 45 psi. Again, continue our visual inspection. We want to make sure our swing drive is tight and is in proper working order. Looking at our hoses, our hydraulic manifold for leaks, loose or missing parts, things that look out of the ordinary and don't belong. We walk over here. We have more electrical cables and wiring assemblies that we need to look at. We want to look at the level of the fuel tank to make sure we have sufficient fuel supply at the beginning of the shift. We want to check our hydraulic oil level with the boom in the stowed position. We're slightly elevated, but we still have adequate hydraulic oil in this particular machine. We'll close the panel shortly. Here we have another tire. We want to check tire pressure. We have the appropriate tire pressure. We're looking for loose lug nuts. Again, same thing with fasteners, hydraulic leaks, condition of the tread overall. We have drive motors up front, so we're looking for the condition of the drive hoses, the pins, the fasteners assemblies that hold this weldment to the structure. Looking at the drive motor for signs of damage. Looking at the axle oscillate cylinders for damage, leaks, and other missing or worn parts. Fasteners that hold the cylinder in place. We're looking for that. Looking for the axle oscillate pin to make sure that it's secure and in working order. Again, we have another hydraulic cylinder looking for the same thing. Leaks, missing parts, damaged parts, things that the machine might have obstructed at some point in time. Other fasteners, another drive motor, hose assemblies, leaks inside the drive motor assembly. We're making a visual inspection of the machine. Again, overall inspection of the tire, make sure the tire is in safe working condition. Checking the air pressure. We have adequate air pressure. Checking the lug nuts. Loose parts on the torque hub assembly. Now we come to our motor over here. Here's our engine power plant. We have a fuel-injected gas-powered engine. We want to check the oil in the engine to make sure we have sufficient oil. And we do. We have oil in this engine that is safe to operate. Looking over here, we have a dry pump and a function pump. We're looking for hoses that might be worn, leak, loose fittings and so forth while the engine's shut. We want to make sure that our hoses are tight. We have a battery. We're going to look for loose battery cables, a cracked battery housing. We come over here, we have hoses for the radiator assembly, alternator, battery cable, make sure that it's not loose. Over here we have coolant level. We want to make sure that we have good coolant level in the machine, giving our engine an overall inspection, making sure the engine's safe to operate. And we do. We come over here, we have another wheel, looking at the tread, the sidewall, the lugs, loose or missing parts, just giving the lugs a visual inspection. Air pressure, we have sufficient air pressure. Looking for leaks inside the tire, for a worn drive motor seal or something that may have been wrapped around the spindle. Looking in here for debris that doesn't belong, that could have fallen in while the machine was being operated, ensuring the swing lock pin is not engaged. Looking at the cylinder to make sure that it's not leaking, or all fasteners are in place, giving everything a good visual inspection. Now we've done a visual inspection of the base of the machine and a function test. We're going to go ahead and close these assemblies. Lower the machine to look at the boom assembly. Now we're going to walk up and look at the boom assembly. Here we have a limit switch. We want to make sure it's functioning properly. A power track assembly. We want to make sure it's not damaged. More cables and wiring harnesses we want to look at. Again, making sure that our cables and wiring harnesses are in good shape. Our power track is smooth to operate. It's bolted to the side of the machine. It hasn't been an obstruction with the physical obstacle on a building of some sort. More hoses to look at. More fasteners to make sure they're in place. Here we have a basket leveling cylinder that occasionally makes contact with the ground and can have damage against it. Inside here, we're looking at our boom wear pads to make sure all of our wear pads are intact and are not missing. Here we have a good wear pad assembly. We walk over to the basket. We can give the basket a good shake looking at our basket swivel assembly. Making sure that the bolts and fasteners are secure. We can shake the basket, making sure our fasteners to everything else are secure. We can shake the boom assembly and make sure the rotator doesn't have additional play in it. Making sure that the ring gear is secured to the pedestal and the pedestal is secured to the ring gear. Now that we have a guardrail structure that is secured to the machine and a boom structure that is secured to the base, we can now enter the platform and perform more tests. One of the safety devices that we need to check on this machine is the active oscillating axle. We need to perform 3 different procedures for that to happen. They are as follows. First, drive one wheel onto a 6-inch rise. And what we're doing here is verifying that the machine maintains 4 points of contact with the rear axle. And when we look at the rear axle, we see that both rear wheels are touching the ground. Then we're going to do the same thing with the right front wheel. And again, we're verifying 4 points of contact with the right wheel now elevated, ensuring the active oscillating axle is working properly. And as we look at the rear of this machine and the front, we have maintained 4 points of contact. Now we have one more test to perform. And what we're doing here is ensuring that the active oscillate valve is working properly when one wheel is raised, that the machine compensates for the terrain. So we tested the left front wheel, the right front wheel, and both, and each time we've made 4 points of contact. This axle is operating properly. Now that we're in the platform, we're going to do a function test of the safety devices and the controls specific to this aerial platform, and as always, looking for the decals for legibility throughout the entire machine. First thing we want to do is see if our machine starts. Make sure that our foot pedal operates. And our foot pedal operates, making sure our emergency stop kills the engine. So we have 2 safety devices we've already checked. Starting the engine again, verifying our horn works. We're going to go ahead and test rotate, one direction, making sure that it operates smoothly. While we're rotating, we're going to be checking another safety device, which is our drive enable. Once our drive enable light comes on, we'll be testing another safety device. Once the machine's rotated, the light comes on, drive is cut out. The machine will not drive unless you hold the enable toggle switch to regain your drive functions. So now we tested our direction, our swing, our proportionality, and our drive enable safety device. When we get the machine back in line, we'll continue our process of checking functions. One thing that I want to verify is travel high speed and the brakes operate. So we're going to travel in reverse at high speed. We're going to do the same thing in forward, ensuring that our brakes work. So we have high-speed travel and functioning brakes. Now we're going to check our platform level, our platform rotate, our boom extend retract, our engine RPM. We have turtle only, our engine slow with or without the foot pedal, rabbit with the foot pedal, our constant high throttle, which you might want to use in cold weather conditions. In addition, we have a fuel selector switch. We want to make sure that that cuts off. Now that we turn our machine back on, know that it cut off, we're going to test our auxiliary power again through our entire range of functions. Basket level, basket rotate, boom extend, retract, boom swing the opposite direction, boom elevate, and boom lower. Now we have a few other things that we want to check on this machine, which is our travel elevated speed. We have a boom angle limit switch and a boom telescope limit switch, which we need to check. So we're going to start the engine back up. We're going to boom the machine just above horizontal. And we're going to check our high-speed travel cutout. We have not achieved it yet, so we're going to boom up slightly higher. Now we have elevated drive cutback speed, which is limited to 1 foot per second of travel speed. We have it in forward and reverse. Now we're going to lower the machine and make sure we regain our high-speed travel. It means we have one more limit switch to check. We have high speed back. Now we're going to check our extend limit switch for proper operation. And we have high speed or elevated drive cutback. Again, limited to 1 foot per second of travel speed. We're going to retract the boom and verify that we gain our high speed. And we do. One more thing that we need to test is our steer, left and right. So we've done a function test throughout the range of motion of all the controls on this particular machine, as well as the safety devices, as well as a visual inspection. This machine is safe to operate.